Thank you, Chairman Larson, Chairman DeFazio, Ranking Member Graves, and Ranking Member Graves for this hearing on the surge in air rage incidents and the effect it has on workers, airports, and airlines. I am a 25-year union flight attendant and president of the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, AFL-CIO. We also coordinate closely with the leaders of APFA and TWU, together representing nearly 100,000 flight attendants. As part of the Communication Workers of America, we represent ground service workers and can also speak to the impact on workers at the gates. And of course, we work closely with all of the aviation unions who make up the Transportation Trades Department of the AFL-CIO. This is a subject that is of great importance to all aviation workers. Since January, the FAA has logged 4,284 unruly passenger reports. About 3/4 of those are mask related. Of these numbers, 755 investigations have been initiated, 154 cases have concluded with enforcement of over $1 million in fines. If we continue at this rate, there may be more incidents in 2021 than in the entire history of aviation. But for the first time, we're hearing from the FAA that some of our efforts together has these numbers trending down. There's so much more to do, though, because these incidents are still too common, if even only from a small percentage of passengers of those who are flying. We cannot forget the devastating consequences of leaving commercial aircraft vulnerable to terrorist attack. We know there are two fundamentals in aviation safety and security. Number one, remove all distractions from safety-sensitive work. And number two, leave all threats to safety and security on the ground. If we allow disruptions in the cabin or distractions due to defiance of passengers to comply with crew instructions to become regular occurrence, we are in jeopardy of missing cues of a coordinated attack. Flight attendants are the eyes throughout the aircraft for threats to safety of flight. Depressurization, fires, medical emergencies, including potential medical emergencies in the flight deck. We cannot afford to lose any time when responding to emergency or preparing for an emergency landing. Disturbances in the cabin are also a distraction in the flight deck and could compromise the safety of flight. In response to a survey of flight attendants across the industry, 85% of respondents had dealt with unruly passengers in the first half of this year, and 58% of those had experienced at least 5 occurrences. This used to just be a one-off bad day at work in an entire career, so this is very commonplace. Disturbingly, 1 in 5 experienced physical altercations. 61% of disruptive passengers used racist, sexist, or homophobic slurs during the events. Only 60% of those who relayed incidents of physical attack said that law enforcement was requested to meet the flight. Of all the incidents in the air, 50% showed that signs of trouble were starting on the ground. This signals both that workers at the gate are experiencing abuse, and half of these incidents could be kept on the ground with better response and coordination. While 85% of the incidents are mask-related, flight attendants report there are many contributing factors, the next highest being alcohol. FAA Administrator Steve Dixon sent a letter to all airports calling for better communication on masks, the federal regulations on alcohol, the discontinuation of to-go alcohol, and I think we have some pictures of this that can be shown, and coordination with law enforcement to make sure consequences are clear for bad actors. Stopping to-go alcohol should be low-hanging fruit here. But as I included in my written testimony, and as you see on the screen with examples from JFK, Phoenix, and St. Louis, they are not the only airports to do this. Not only has this practice not stopped, it is encouraged and promoted, giving passengers the false idea that they can bring their own alcohol on board and encouraging as much drinking as possible. Flight attendants and gate agents then experience extensive verbal abuse, yelling and swearing in response to instructions, shoving, taking seats, biting, punching, throwing trash at workers, defiling restrooms after instructions are given, following flight crew and agents throughout the airport, and continuing to yell and harass. The danger in this hostile environment in response to flight attendants simply conducting routine safety reminders and compliance is hesitancy in performing these tasks. Aviation safety is at risk when crew are deterred from or delayed in performing our safety duties. Now, what do we need? We need DOJ criminal charges and enforcement, make the FAA zero tolerance policy permanent, and give staff up investigators and extend investigation time. Coordinated communication, including PSAs running throughout the terminal on masks, alcohol, and generally following the rules from point of ticket sale, all through check-in, security, gate, and the boarding process. require that all airport bars, restaurants, and shops post signage and use verbal warnings to patrons who fail to comply with masking requirements. Every airline and airport should have a communication plan that they submit to ensure we're all working together across government stakeholders and law enforcement. Enforcement of masks in the terminal and stopping the ability for passengers to become inebriated. More staffing at the gates and on the planes. We simply cannot accept this as the new normal. We look forward to working with this subcommittee to effect positive change. I want to note that aviation is about bringing people together, not tearing us apart. Every person matters, and we can only have the freedom of flight when we recognize the reality that we are all in this together. Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.